You're joking, right?
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm trying to be optimistic about that.
Well, I guess you're too young to be a little pessimistic like me. The fucking things I see out there, people are stupid.
Plus, that way I'll
Hey, Brian.
I'll get to see Zerai and stuff before I leave too, which is
Right. What's going on?
you're doing a little new hair.
Oh, you got a little food.
I just ate some granola.
Oh, those are good. Those granolas.
It was very good.
Well, this gel doesn't work that well.
No,
but
it looks good.
long,
It's just
right?
a different. It's a different.
I'm
look.
letting it grow long.
I know.
Yeah, it's longer than
The
yours.
sun
now.
is bright in my eyes here.
Sorry
I need to wear my
about that.
sunglasses.
So what's going on, Bronny? So last night I ate Indian food. First time in ever. Oh, God. It was nice.
It was good, right?
It was good. It's not my first choice. Like I said, if we're going to
Fair.
go Greek, Italian, or Indian, like if I was going ethnic, I would go Greek over Indian food.
Yeah.
Yes, right on top. Suck it. You got it.
You're also more used to that too. Like I bet when you were a kid, you probably would have been like, I would never eat Greek food. Ugh.
When I was a kid, we only ate,
I don't mean the kid. Let's say 22.
all my family ate was like pizza, pasta, chicken parm, and grilled cheese. We didn't eat any of that. Stick it right here. That's annoying.
I
Sorry.
can't
No, let me say. You got it.
pick it out.
All right, you got it. You got it. I think you got it. All right. Sorry. There was like a girl we ran to, this husband and wife in Royal Palm last week, and we've known her for like 30 years or 25 years. And I was talking to her, she had the biggest seed in her tooth. And I don't
What did you
know.
with girls? You
but
can't bring it up.
99% of the time, I will say you got something in your tooth because I'd want to know.
I always would want to know, but yeah.
I don't know. I want to know if I have something from my nose or my mouth.
But girls are different.
But I don't know her that well. I know her, but we don't have that kind of
I
relationship.
don't know what you do in that
So
situation.
I left it alone. Which means
Any
her husband's
guy-
telling her afterwards, and she's gonna be like,
And then
"Fuck."
she's embarrassed.
Correct.
But she also would be embarrassed if you pointed it out for her.
By the way, anyone asking, I'd want to know if I had something in my nose or
The
in my
nose is
teeth.
way worse because then it's like, oh, what do I do now? You know,
But
if you have
everybody has it.
If you have a booger in your nose and someone tells you, what do? You wipe it with your hand? That's
Yeah,
gross.
But everyone has it.
No, I know. It's gross.
I would not want to.
You would not want to what?
I would not want to talk to somebody knowing that without them telling me.
Same. But girls, like, if a
Yeah,
guy
girls
tells
are
a
not
girl,
easy.
oh, you have something in your nose, she might be mortified.
Look how much the fucking dog hair.
It's all over the couch.
No, it's all.
Look at that.
It's,
It's all
all
over the
over
couch. Look
everywhere.
at that.
Don't do that. I don't want to do it. Get it all over me.
Good thing we're not allergic.
It's unfucking.
Maybe I am allergic, and that's why I have my allergies.
100%. When I had the allergy testing done, the doctor said you were allergic to dog dander.
You also are allergic to like all food, and the doctor didn't say that. So clearly, they don't know what they're doing.
But
Every time you eat food, you're like,
the dog hair is unfucking believable. So
I need sunglasses. I can't look at you.
You can have mine.
I have to
oh,
look
shit,
like this.
Banks ate those
Yeah.
fucking glasses.
Just kill the dog.
So
That's a joke.
we went ahead, and this morning I went out and I go to get coffee at that little stand because I like
Raccoon.
like you.
Shout
Yeah.
out my
Yep, I like to support the local, and they're good and whatever.
exactly.
I think of that you when I do that, and
Thank you. I guess.
so I go ahead.
I'm more of a Panther coffee guy for those who.
but it's right here walking.
But
it
raccoon
says.
is good.
And they're nice and it's cute, and there's other people with their dogs and this and that. But
Yeah.
of course, my dog can't play with any dog because he fucking attacks them. Wipe
Well,
it.
that's a problem.
So you got it. Okay, save it for later.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I just ate it right now.
Okay. All right. So
I needed. It's early in the morning. Not early, but it's like before lunchtime, and I just needed to eat a little food because that was me being
Right.
mature and knowing that I need food before we do a podcast.
Right.
Otherwise, I'll get in a bad mood.
right. So as I was saying, I'm walking a raccoon to go ahead and
Okay.
Get the
getting
coffee.
In a bad mood.
and I take $20 cash, but I get there and
They
they
do
don't
not take cash.
they don't take cash,
Yeah.
and it's great. So
It's a little stand. I can
know,
understand why they
but
don't
I
take
get it, but
cash.
whatever. So like fuck. So there's a guy a little younger than me. I'm like, dude, listen, can I Venmo you? Like, can you buy me coffee? Venmo? He goes, no problem. So then he got a coffee. So
Well, wait. Why? If you had Venmo, why couldn't you use?
they don't. They take PayPal.
No,
And
but you didn't have your phone. Like, if
I
you
had
have
my
your phone,
phone.
just tap your phone. You don't have your card set up on your phone.
what kind of card?
Do you have your phone on you right now?
Yeah.
What do you mean? What kind of card? You could put any card in
Oh.
your wallet. Let's see.
Okay. Let me see.
Yeah, you have your MX in your
So
phone.
how does that work?
So you just double tap the power button,
Okay.
and then you just touch this to that, and that's
Touch
it.
this to what?
Touch your phone to wherever you tap your card,
And that'll work?
and it'll work.
Unbelievable.
Look, it's right there. That's your card, and you have your Apple Card.
I don't.
too,
I
but you
never get.
use
I don't know
that.
how that works. Apple Card, because I don't have a bill. How does that work on what?
You
was
must
it,
have a bill.
Was
you
it
just
get
never
charged
use
to?
it? It gets. I don't know. It gets. It gets.
Okay,
your
so
Apple
I didn't
Card.
know that. So you do.
You double tap, but you have it set. Yeah, and then you just touch it because you select that you want to pay with.
And
that
then
one,
I just.
that's it.
And do you do pay with passcode?
I don't have mine set up for that, but I
What
have
does
mine for my
passcode mean?
It's the password to your phone,
Wait.
and then it'll charge it. Hold near reader, see, and that's it. So you don't even need your wallet if they accept Apple Pay.
Unfucking believable. So I go ahead and so his bill was like he got like it was like $15, whatever. I went to buy him. I was going to buy him and give. He's like, no, dude, you don't have to. But I just that was nice.
Did
He
you,
accept it? No, I just found him on the $5.
So you just wanted to share that you tried to do a good
Yeah,
deed.
I was just maybe figure that was how I started my morning.
Okay, good job.
Is that nice?
It
like
is.
it's nice to be nice.
Yeah,
Um,
it's even nicer to be nice without sharing that you were nice.
I'm just letting
No, I
you
know,
know
Joe.
that I look at the growth.
You're letting me know that you're nice. Good
no,
job.
the growth of me doing that.
What do you want? A
and-
medal?
Wow,
An
and
award?
Indian food.
Oh,
That's
you eat a type of food that is one of the most popular foods in the entire world.
You're dead to me, Brandon.
Oh,
you're on your own.
I'm so proud of you for eating a food that billions of people like. Billions.
Yeah, most people are idiots. But it was nice getting out this morning.
Good. I'm happy
For a
for
little
you.
walk. I'm happy for me
It's
too.
we're probably not going to be able to get out later
Why?
because it's going to rain. It's rain. When I left,
Oh, no,
Brickell,
right,
it was
right.
raining. What do you mean? That's why. Of
It's
course.
so relaxing. I still get out, just get wet. Is that your computer?
This is mine.
Okay,
I
good.
brought mine.
Spoke to Berkey today. He's doing well. Going to Morocco on Wednesday.
Rough life.
He's a good kid.
Rough life.
Good kid. Why not let him enjoy it?
No, sure.
So we were talking about Kennedy and Biden.
Yes, we were.
Right.
We can.
Yes.
Well, we're record. You guys are listening to this on Wednesday. You listened to the main episode on Monday. We recorded the main
if
episode
you
on
didn't,
Saturday.
you better go back and listen to it.
And now we are recording this on Sunday. So we're like we're back to back. But you guys,
Why does that
there
even
might be a
matter?
couple things- Because you were like, we were talking about
Correct.
Kennedy, but for them it might be like 3 days, 4 days, and
Okay,
between.
but the private one. But we technically were talking about it.
Right? No, I know. I'm just giving a little context for them because they might be like, what? What are you talking about?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So you were like, go do some research. I had no time because when we finished the podcast, we went straight to dinner, and then I went straight to a party, and then I went straight to bed. So unless I did it at the party, I didn't have any
Or
time.
you did it this morning and didn't watch F1. But go ahead.
But that's my
No
Sunday.
judgment. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Depends what's more important.
But also it's like, that's what we can, that's part of this show is that we learn about things together.
Yes, Bronny.
So
Can't get rid of all the fucking dog hairs.
I want to find out exactly who his dad was. So his parents were Robert F. Kennedy. Which one's Robert? RFK was by the nickname Bobby Kennedy, and his siblings were JFK and Ted Kennedy, right? So JFK, our president, the one who was assassinated by the CIA and our government, was his uncle.
Gotcha.
So that's his connection. So he's not like a random
What
Kennedy.
a shame about Kennedy Jr., isn't it?
He was the one that died in the plane crash.
Yeah, so sad with the two. You think that's a conspiracy?
Well, they might have like killed him. They kill all the Kennedys.
So how
He flew like directly into a mountain or something, didn't
well, because what happened was he wasn't instrument rated. Okay, do you know what that means?
he was the one flying the plane.
He flew the plane with his girlfriend and his girlfriend's sister. So those parents lost 2 daughters.
Okay.
And he had his pilot license, but he wasn't instrument rated. And what happens is, so there's different levels. So when you're instrument rated, you can fly without any visibility just based upon reading the instrument.
Okay.
And because of the fog and he had no idea what his altitude was, there was no visibility. He should never have taken off and flown that night. And results.
Which one's that? JFK Jr.?
Yeah, and so sad because he would have been president. He was like the most eligible bachelor. He was like this good-looking dude. Everybody liked him, both Dems and Repubs. And he
Repubs.
and he was just it's a shame. He had to take the Florida bar the New York bar 3 times, just so you know. He passed on his 3rd time.
Oh, so we were just talking
Yeah,
about that.
third
I wouldn't
time.
want to hire him. It says here, JFK, the son and namesake of former President JFK, died when the light aircraft he was flying crashed into the Atlantic Ocean off Martha's Vineyard in 1999. Kennedy's wife, Carolyn Bessette, and sister-in-law, Lauren Bessette, were also on board and died. The Piper Saratoga departed from Jersey's Essex Airport The official investigation by the National Transportation Safety Board concluded that Kennedy fell victim to spatial disorientation while descending over water at night and consequently lost control of his plane. He did not hold an instrument rating and therefore was only certified to fly under visual flight rules. At the time of crash, weather conditions were such that all basic landmarks were obscured, making visual flight challenging, although legally still permissible.
How sad is that?
It's very sad. Well, I mean, all the Kennedys are
it's like a curse, right?
Yeah, there's.
But it's such a and here's the part, like, so everybody just talks about him, which I get, but overshadowing that the other family lost 2 daughters.
Yeah.
Isn't that terrible?
But the thing is, we don't know them, so of course they're not going to be talked about as much as
isn't
JFK
that sad?
Jr.
Like, I mean,
the whole thing is tragic.
Tragic.
I mean, the family is full of tragedy.
It really is.
JFK was assassinated by his own government. His son died in a plane crash. Ted Kennedy died too, didn't he?
No, I don't think Ted Kennedy died other than age.
Wasn't there another? There was another.
Who was
tragedy.
The one that looked like Grandpa Maurice? Was that Ted?
I don't know.
Wasn't there a Kennedy that was like charged for rape or something?
No, there's the one that's the Chappaquiddick one where they killed. He was driving.
No,
and he killed someone. Accidentally. He
okay.
Hit someone with the car and then they hid the body.
Okay, I thought there was one where it was for rape too.
Kennedy deaths.
Let's see what they got.
Kennedy curse has its own Wikipedia. Okay, so Joseph P. Kennedy in 1944 died in a pilot accident. His plane exploded in England.
Bizarre.
Then in 1944, William Cavendish, who was the husband of Kathleen Kennedy, was fatally shot by a German sniper. So those were both in the war. Okay. They were fighting in the war.
All right.
Then Kathleen Kennedy, that same one in 1948, died in a plane crash in France. Then in 1963, Patrick Kennedy died of infant respiratory distress syndrome 2 days after his birth.
Well, that's okay.
But still, that's a Kennedy that
Kennedys
died.
need to take trains.
And then 1963, President Kennedy was assassinated, right? 1968, U.S. Senator Robert and Democratic presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy. So I'm assuming that's because the one who's running now that we want to talk about is Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
So that's probably the father.
Yeah, he was running for president under the Democratic ticket. He was shot. He was assassinated at the Ambassador Hotel in L.A. On the night of his victory of the California Democratic presidential primary.
So let's go over a couple things for a second.
There's still so many more.
We're not finished yet.
Oh my God.
So you know Superman, they always say Superman's cursed, the people who play Superman.
Really? Why? Just Christopher Reeves.
No, there was another one too. I forget what it was. But
Brandon Routh got it, and then his career never went anywhere.
Right, so the
he was
Kennedy,
Superman Returns.
This guy, the new one running, should be concerned.
Well, he's a little fucked up. He lost his vocal cords or something. He speaks like this, and that's the only thing that's holding him back, which we'll talk
Why, the
about.
fucking guy Fetterman he's a fucking
Yeah, but he at least Robert F. Kennedy, he's a good speaker. He just speaks like this. Right. So it's a little hard to listen to him.
Which is the one that was
This is crazy. It keeps going. So RFK Sr. died the night of when he won presidential primary in California. So he was going to be the Democratic nominee. Who was he running against, I wonder? Let's see, 1968. He was running against...
Is that him?
No, that's Johnson. That's Lyndon B. Johnson.
I was say that.
Yeah, R.F. Kennedy versus Eugene McCarthy. He was running against Lyndon B. Johnson. That's RFK.
Yeah, he's
Senior.
well known.
Yeah, that's RFK Sr.
He died?
He was the one that was shot. He was assassinated.
Right.
In June 5th, 1968. And then Lyndon B. Johnson went on to win. And LBJ, weirdly enough, oh my God, LBJ was vice president, not vice president. He became president after JFK was assassinated. And a lot of people think that he had a hand in JFK's assassination because then he became president right after.
Well, you look at the motive.
And then also, so he became president because JFK was assassinated. And then the next election cycle,
the other Kennedy
RFK was going to win, and he was assassinated, and then LBJ became president again.
LBJ, powerful man.
That's fucking weird. I never knew that. So then it says 1984, David Kennedy died of a drug overdose in Palm Beach, Florida. He was 12 years old when he saw his father assassinated on live TV. Following a car accident, David began to abuse painkillers and was in and out of detox.
Sad.
So he died of a drug overdose. 1997, Michael Kennedy died in a skiing accident after crashing into a tree in Aspen, Colorado. 1999, JFK Jr. died in the plane crash, right? 2011, Kara Kennedy died of a heart attack while exercising in D.C., reportedly suffered from lung cancer 9 years earlier. 2012, Mary Kennedy died by suicide in Westchester County. 2019, Saoirse Kennedy, grandfather of RFK, died of an accidental overdose after being found unresponsive at the Kennedy compound in Hyannisport. 2020, Maeve Kennedy McKean disappeared with her 8-year-old son, Gideon, during a short canoe trip in the Chesapeake Bay. Her body was found by divers 4 days later. Gideon's body was found 2 days after hers. Authorities believe Maeve paddled to retrieve her son's ball, leaving the wind and current to overturn the canoe. So those are all the Kennedys that have died. That's 20 of them.
But but it wasn't like they're all tragic deaths.
Right. They're not.
Scary.
Those are all like
most people
weird
like died
deaths.
of cancer,
Yeah.
died of old age, had a heart attack. These are all a lot of plane crashes,
That's weird.
two assassins,
Yes. Assassinations,
public
overdoses.
figures. This guy, Robert Kennedy Jr. running, he could get assassinated.
He definitely could, especially because he's
Scary.
like anti-vax and stuff. So we're going to go into his
And-
stuff. Wow, this is so much more interesting than
Wow.
I thought it would be. Okay, and then incidents. These are incidents. Rosemary Kennedy, 1941. What is this? These are long.
Grey Gardens is a Kennedy, the movie. The
No,
documentary.
it's not Kennedy. It's Onassis.
Onassis.
Right.
And what's the
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
and the
Bob.
relation?
So
hey
Jackie,
Nelly, who's the Kennedy that looked like your dad? Ted Kennedy.
Ted Kennedy. He's
He's
the
alive.
one. Yeah. So here, 1964, Senator Ted Kennedy survived a plane crash. Again, another plane crash.
Yeah, weird.
That killed one of his aides and the pilot. The plane was on its way to the Democratic Senate endorsing convention, crashed in an apple orchard in Southampton, Massachusetts. Senator was pulled from the wreckage by passenger Birch Bay. Kennedy spent 5 months in a hospital recovering from a broken bone, broken back, punctured lung, broken ribs.
Jesus.
Then also 4 years later, Ted Kennedy drove his car off a bridge in Chappaquiddick, resulting in the drowning death of a 28-year-old passenger, Mary Jo Capenci. Right, that's the one. He killed this girl. It was in the televised statement a week later. He said that the night of the incident, he wondered whether some awful cars did hang over the Kennedys. He did not report the accident to the police until the next morning and pled guilty of the charge of leading the scene of the accident. Right, it was like a whole. They like tried to cover it up
That was
for a
Ted?
moment. Yeah,
But there
killed
was
a young girl.
I thought there was a Kennedy that there was a situation with like raping a girl.
we can keep going. So here's a weird thing too. Rosemary Kennedy, I knew about this one. She was JFK's sister, and she had some type of autism or Down syndrome, something mentally wrong with her, and they like kept her hidden
In a basement.
Yeah, literally, like kept her hidden. They tried to never reveal that she was part of the family. So it says here, Rosemary Kennedy, age 23, struggled to read and write, suffered from mood swings, seizures, and violent outbursts. During birth, she was deprived of oxygen as her mother and nurse waited for the doctor to arrive. As she grew older, she became more rebellious, and the family worried she would do something that could tarnish the Kennedy reputation. In an attempt to cure or treat his daughter, Joseph Kennedy, so that's JFK's dad, secretly arranged for her to undergo a prefrontal lobotomy, which was seen as a promising treatment. Instead of saving her, the now discredited procedure left her mentally and physically incapacitated.
Could you imagine how barbaric that is? But
She
that's what they
remained
did back then.
institutionalized in seclusion in rural Wisconsin until her death in 2005. No one
Could you
knew.
Imagine how sad that is.
Her family remained distant for most of her life, but Eunice Kennedy Shriver, her sister,
The
grew
Shrivers
close-
were, yeah.
Yeah,
Wasn't
who
one
was-
of them a lesbian and married Pam Shriver?
Who's Pam Shriver?
Nell. Wasn't one of the Kennedys a lesbian and married Pam Shriver? Yeah.
Maybe
look-
it was this one because she's Eunice Kennedy Shriver. Eunice went on to found the Special Olympics and Joseph Kennedy Foundation, which researches developmental and intellectual disabilities. But isn't that crazy? From
they just
1941 to 2005, they just kept her hidden.
How sad-
They
and-
lobotomized her and they kept her
Could you
hidden.
imagine how evil? That's barbaric.
That's-
That's what they did in the 40s, though.
And it's also, that's like royal family type. Like the Kennedys are American royal family. They
Sweet.
just are. Like That's what they do.
So
if there's someone that could tarnish the
I
name,
think up Shriver and Kennedy marriage or something.
Shriver.
And let's go back to the other thing. Shriver Kennedy marriage. I think one of them was a lesbian. She's like tennis player or something.
Well, yeah, Eunice Shriver. She was the sister of JFK, RFK, and Edward Kennedy. Ambassador to Ireland. Oh, she was married to Sergeant Shriver. No, who was the U.S. ambassador to France and the Democratic nominee for vice president in 1972. So she was not a lesbian. She was married to.
What about Pam Shriver? Look up Pam Shriver, just out of curiosity.
And
She's a tennis player. Shriver, tennis player. I think she's definitely married.
Shriver.
Am I correct the name?
Yeah, Pam Shriver is an American former tennis player.
Okay. Who was she married to? Could have sworn.
Let's see. Personal life. She was born in Baltimore. Her first husband, Joe Shapiro, former Walt Disney lawyer, died in 1999. She married actor George Lazenby.
I don't remember.
No. Shriver has two sisters. Here. Marion, who died of cancer, and Eleanor, who lives in Maryland. She is the fourth cousin of Maria Shriver, the former First Lady of California and niece to President JFK. So,
all right,
in 2021, she became a supporter of the new Women's Sports Policy Working Group formed in response to President Joe Biden's executive order that mandates inclusiveness for transgender female athletes. So she's against trans women being in female sports.
Well, everyone should be.
She's the supporter of the Women's Sports Policy Working Group. Interesting. Yeah.
All right, so go back to the list.
Yeah, so in these other incidents, we talked about the Ted ones, we talked about the Rosemary.
Well, we go off on tangents.
Then
Jesus.
It says in 1973, Joseph Kennedy II was the driver of a Jeep that crashed and left his passenger, Pam Kelly, paralyzed. So they always they're killing women.
Well, people in the passenger, usually men drive, women in the passenger seat, and a lot of times in accidents, the passengers usually a lot of times die.
Yeah.
That does happen.
Or they're like killing these women that they want out, and they're
not killing them.
And
in that regard. They're not doing it for that reason. I'm going to get in a car accident so the person in the passenger seat could die. I mean, that's a big risk.
No, it's not that. It's you want to kill you need to take this person out for whatever reason. Where why was Ted Kennedy in the car with a 28-year-old girl?
One person that worked in his cabinet. Also, everyone knows the Kennedys were philanderers. Is that the right word?
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
The Kennedys were big time.
Exactly.
Everyone knows that.
When you need one of them, let's say you were cheating on your wife or whatever, and you need this 28-year-old to shut up, you kill her.
Okay,
that's what they
break your own back while you're at it too, and go drive off the bridge. I mean, come on, that's a big thing. You don't think the Kennedys have a lot more power? They say could do that. Come
on. She was a secretary, the woman that was killed by Ted, a secretary on one of the campaign.
She wasn't killed by Ted. They got in a car accident.
She was killed in an accident, right?
Okay, it's a big difference.
But then he didn't report it until.
What are you seeing in headlines?
But he didn't report it for a day.
Oh, but maybe he went back and said I need to consult with my lawyers and the team.
That's not what you do. He left the.
Okay.
She left the scene of the accident where she was dead. It's a Your Honor. It's a Your Honor situation. I just want to see. So
you didn't watch the end of finish it?
No, but I will.
Okay.
According to reports, Kennedy left a party. So there's things I want to talk about, but you haven't watched the show, so I'm gonna. So he left a party, driving her home from the party, I guess. And at 11:15 p.m., her body and the car were not reported until the next morning, approximately 10 hours later. Let's see. So she attended a party on Chappaquiddick Island. The celebration was in honor of the dedicated work of the Boiler Room Girls and the reunion of Robert Kennedy campaign workers. Robert's surviving brother Senator Ted Kennedy was there. Kopenci, who was the girl, reportedly left the party with Kennedy at 11:15. He had offered to drive her to catch the last ferry back to Edgartown, where she was staying. She did not tell her friends at the party that she was leaving, and she left her purse and keys behind. See, this is all weird, don't you think? Kennedy drove a 1967 Oldsmobile off a narrow, unlit bridge, which lacked guardrails and was not on the route to Edgartown.
He was drunk, obviously.
It was not on the route to Edgartown.
Interesting. And he was drunk.
The vehicle landed on its roof in Poucha Pond. Kennedy extricated himself from the vehicle and survived, but neglected to inform authorities of the accident until the next day.
She might have been alive for all we know.
Right. She might have been.
And he just could have let her bleed out.
Assistant medical examiner, blah, 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 signed a death certificate listing cause of death as accidental drowning. A private funeral was held. Aftermath. A week after the incident, Kennedy pleaded guilty to leaving the scene of an accident after causing injury. He received a 2-month suspension sentence. On national television broadcast that night, He said he had not been driving under the influence of liquor, nor had he had a private relationship with her. Massachusetts officials pressed for weeks to have the body exhumed for an autopsy, but a Pennsylvania judge sided with the parents' request not to disturb the burial site. Chappaquiddick incident became the topic of 15
They paid the parents,
of course,
not to exhume it.
Yep.
Because
and then there
it
was
would've showed-
investigations.
Isn't it amazing? How would you prove those?
Her parents received a $141,000 settlement from Kennedy's insurance company. They moved to Pennsylvania on the 25th anniversary of the death. They said that Kennedy never apologized to them over his role in it, but that other members of the family wrote letters to them. With their only child gone, they felt justice never was reached.
Sad, isn't it sad?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I don't know what happened, but it's weird. Okay, so Joseph Kennedy drove a Jeep and paralyzed a woman. 1973, Edward Kennedy, at 12 years old, had his right leg amputated of bone cancer. Okay, that's not
right.
William Kennedy was arrested and charged with the rape of a young woman at
That's
the
what I was
Kennedy estate
talking.
of Palm
That's what I was
Beach.
talking about.
The subsequent trial achieved extensive media coverage,
Told ya.
and he was acquitted. That was 1991.
Of course, he was acquitted.
Yeah. And then 2006, Congressman Patrick Kennedy crashed his car while intoxicated into a barricade on Capitol Hill in D.C. at 2:45 a.m.
Or a barricade.
It was
so
later
himself.
he later revealed an addiction to Ambien and Fenrigan and pled guilty to driving under the influence of the prescription. He received a 1-year probation and had to pay $350.
Only because of Kennedy.
But look, that's weird that all of this is from one family. And then also all the families that marry into the Kennedy family are also fucked up
it's
and
bad.
weird.
It's scary.
Yeah,
I don't believe in curses, but that's ironic.
I don't even know. Is it a curse or is it that they do bad things, right? That maybe they do bad things and cover it up, or it's a curse. I don't know.
They also have a very high
Lifestyle.
right. So there's a lot of partying, a lot of drinking, a lot of narcissism,
A lot of private flying,
right. You can
which is not safe.
You can create your own rules. It's a big party.
Yes.
So there's a higher risk.
How did the original Kennedy how'd they make their money?
How did they become famous?
Well, they became famous because they were very wealthy, and then they were like, now that we're wealthy, we got to go into politics. Like the Bushes. The Bush family is the same. The Bush family was like very wealthy, and then they were like, now that we're wealthy, we got to change
I don't know
laws.
where they made their money.
Let's see. The American Kennedy family. American political family that has been prominent in politics, public service, entertainment, and business. In 1884, 35 years after the family's arrival from Ireland, Patrick Joseph Kennedy became the first Kennedy elected to public office, serving in Massachusetts state legislature until 1895. He had 9 children with his wife, Rose Kennedy, including JFK.
9 children.
But how'd they make their money? They came over sailed from Ireland to Boston in 1849. Patrick worked in East Boston as a barrel maker and had 5 children with Bridget. Their youngest, Patrick Kennedy, went into business and served in Massachusetts state legislature from 1884 to 1895. But so they're just a family of government people. How'd they make all their
How'd they make the money?
They didn't just make good money. They have a lot of money, right?
What's their net worth?
Here he was presented a. There's not really on anything. Let's see. I'm going to Google how did, and then we got to get to RFK. How did?
Or you want to
Kennedys
go into Chat GPT and ask,
their money? Yeah, we could do that too.
right? I was looking at my $20 a month worth.
How Joseph Kennedy made his fortune. This is from History Channel. Kennedy patriarch amassed great wealth partly by selling alcohol, but also made savvy deals and sales that became extremely lucrative. Rumors have swirled that they made their fortune as bootleggers during Prohibition, but while the patriarch of the clan had its foible.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
But it seems like they might have been. Okay, whatever. So
Back to Biden and Robert Kennedy Jr.
yeah, RFK.
Right.
This episode is brought to you by Manscaped, improving the lives of men, women, non-binary folks everywhere. In the bathroom and in the bedroom
my gosh.
and on the beach. That's like the biggest one that people don't even realize. People think, oh, like I got a Manscaped because my girlfriend, like I got to look out for my girlfriend down there. And it's like, sure, for sure. But the bigger one is like, it's getting hot out now. When I Manscaped down there, it's just more comfortable in my life. I sweat
It's
less.
smooth. It's smooth.
I
agree.
smell better because I'm sweating less because there's less hair. It's just like it improves your life.
Manscaped is a great product. It's the only one, and I've tried numerous before I got into Manscaped. It's the only one that does not nick. It does not catch the hair on your balls. It does not cause any bleeding. It has that great little razor that I shave my chest with, which is amazing. And no matter how friggin' hard you push it, it doesn't cut you. And then they got into the new generation, which Bronson will talk about as well. It's a well-made product. It's phenomenal. It's great price. You get a discount by using our code. And I got to tell you, if you don't have it, you 110% should have it.
Yeah. So head over to manscaped.com, look at all their products. While you're there, check out the Lawnmower 4.0, which is their top of the line body, ball, anywhere trimmer, really. You can use it anywhere. It's great. They have a special one for your beard, the Beard Hedger. So if you want just one for your beard, 20 different settings. It's awesome. You can cut it to any length you want. And then while you're there, also check out all their other stuff. They have a lot of products that people don't even know about.
And we use it all the time, so you could be like us. You want to know what
I
we
literally
do?
use it every day.
Right.
I use multiple products. Not only do I use the Beard Hedger and the Lawnmower every day, but I use the Weed Whacker, which is for my nose hairs because I need to use that all the time. And I use the deodorant, the shampoo, the conditioner, the body wash, the cologne when I go out. I use it all.
It's funny.
So head over to manscaped.com, use the code DaddyIssues20, and you'll get 20% off your order and free shipping. Once again, the code is DaddyIssues20. It'll give you 20% off your order and free shipping. So RFK is the son of, that's RFK Jr. He is the son of Robert Kennedy, and he's the nephew of JFK. So RFK and JFK were brothers, and then this is RFK Jr. Let's see. So Wikipedia, the thing that Google gives you, right? This is funny. It says RFK is an American environmental lawyer and author known for promoting anti-vaccine propaganda and health-related conspiracy theories. That's the first sentence that they give.
Like us.
What do you mean?
We have that similar view.
Well, they're right. They would say the same about us.
Right.
But do you see that they're instantly
trying to portray him down? Negative.
The first sentence. He is the son of you. So it should be first. He is the son of U.S. Attorney General and 1968 presidential candidate RFK and nephew of JFK. Oh, he's married to Cheryl Hines. I didn't know that.
Who's that?
You know her, the actress.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
interesting.
He's been married to her since 2014.
Wow.
Okay, so
she needs to be concerned too. Bron?
Yeah, she might.
Yeah.
This is CNN 1 hour ago. How bad is it for DeSantis? He's polling at RFK Jr.'s level. So that shows you how. But yeah, so Trump. Let's see what this says. Florida Governor DeSantis has spent the past few months running to the right ahead of his expected entry in the presidential campaign. From signing it to blah, blah, blah. Things have gotten so bad for DeSantis that a recent Fox News poll shows him at 21%, comparable with the 19% that RFK Jr., who has debunked conspiracy theories about vaccine safety, is receiving on the Democratic side. See, so CNN is trying to. They're trying to take that RFK.
They're working on the anti-vaccine. That's what they're trying to get at.
Yeah, so
that's their avenue.
Here's Politico from back in 2019 about RFK. RFK Jr. is our brother and uncle. He's tragically wrong about vaccines. We love RFK Jr., but he is part of a misinformation campaign that's having heartbreaking and deadly consequences.
By the way, the vaccine thing they want to run on. Speaking of, you're gonna have to wipe your right nostril. Your right one. You're gonna have to get a tissue. All right, or suck it up. Listen to me for a minute. The anti-vaccine thing, it's old, it's done, nobody cares.
So he was on the anti-vax train before COVID happened.
But this isn't right. But this is not going to happen for 2 years from now. The election, right? Is 2 years from November or a year from November?
A year from this November, right. So a year and a half.
So a year and a half. So my point: if they're going to be pushing this anti-vax thing,
they're going to be trying.
Okay, it's a little old,
right? That's the thing they have on them, right? They keep saying
it's nothing.
Every first sentence is
if that's
anti-vax.
the only thing they have, that's a weak. It's weak because
it's especially because
everyone's had it already. It's done.
Right. And also, so like this article that Politico was running about him being anti-vax was before COVID existed, right? This was May 8th, 2019.
But it's old. It's old.
So, but what I'm saying is that back then, if you said someone's anti-vax, everyone would be like, that's horrible. Now, through COVID, we've learned the vaccine that they showed is bullshit.
But I respect this guy at least opposing and sticking to his guns. I respect that.
Yeah, I mean, he's been on the same train forever. But what I'm saying is now that argument doesn't hold water or doesn't tread water. Whatever
no value.
Because
No
everyone
value.
now is like, we know that the government is pushing right? Like, I don't think that they're putting like they're trying to kill us with vaccines. I don't think that necessarily. But I know that they use vaccines as a power thing. We all know that. So
Right.
if he's saying that, it's like, if he's anti-vaccine, I'm like, okay, so, right? It doesn't hold
To
water
me,
anymore.
yeah, it's such old news. It has no value.
Yeah. So this Fox posted 20 hours ago. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says he opposes biological males competing in women's sports. So he's a Dem. He's running as on the Democratic ticket.
Right, but he's a normal person. Sounds normal.
Exactly. But that's why in the main
That's
episode,
good.
in the main episode this week, I was saying he seems like a great candidate.
Like Clinton.
Right. Yeah.
I was fine
or
with
like
him.
like a Kennedy. Kennedys have always been Democrats, but very moderate. You know, they've always
like
been
normal,
very moderate.
like normal.
Right. And that's why
Right.
they've always been likable. Like, it's easy to vote. It's always all the Kennedys that have been senators or president. It's easy to vote for them because they're moderate. And that's what he seems, which is
Anyone should oppose biological males competing in women's sports.
Biden doesn't.
I know, but anyone should.
Not only does Biden not, but he literally has passed legislation against that, you know? But that's why I think that he makes the best candidate out there right now. And we can go into more of his policies. Like, I'll Google what his policies are and stuff. But what we need in this country is a moderate. We need someone to be like, all right, everyone, let's all stop this bullshit, right? And the Republicans not going to get that done. They're just not. DeSantis is already polarizing. Trump is too polarizing. We need a Democrat to be like this. We need a Democrat who has Republican.
All right, easy there. It sounds like you're voting for him.
No, but a Democrat who says this woke shit is nonsense. That's the only person that's going to succeed.
And that could bring people together more.
That's what I mean.
I agree with
Where
you.
a Republican is no matter what, we're already too late.
Right, it's
Liberal people are
bifurcated so
never
bad.
going to vote for a Republican saying we need to oppose biological males competing in women's
100%
sports.
correct.
But a Democrat, they might because he's a
Correct.
Democrat. You know what I mean?
I agree with
So
you.
That's
That was-
valuable.
Yep, I agree. I agree.
So this is from Fox. This was published yesterday. 21 states have banned transgender females from participating, and RFK wants to see that number rise. The son of former New York senator appeared on CNN Saturday morning and said he opposes biological males participating in female sports. Let's see if we can just watch that, right?
I agree
I'd rather just
1,000%.
watch that. Because then you can hear him speak.
You just had something up there.
Now, that was RFK, CNN, trans sports. Let's see if we can find this clip. Yeah, here. Let's watch this.
Okay. That's him on the right?
Yeah, he looks like a Kennedy.
Yeah, he does.
Right? But
Old.
So he has a weird voice thing, and we'll find out why. But that's the only thing that's holding him back. And this is an ad.
By the way, I finished Jury Duty.
Good, right?
First of all, you're right.
Yeah, it's fun.
Had the original Green Watch.
Yes, he was
I
rocking.
can't
the
stop
original
looking at the
Green.
air. He made $100,000.
Which is great.
He didn't
Good
know
for
that.
him.
And it was very interesting. And he seemed okay with it. He's just a nice guy.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks he's
Like, at first he was like, what? And then he was like, oh my God, this was
everybody.
crazy.
He's just a nice guy.
Simple.
They tried to push him.
They
in the
really
back. They
did.
tried.
And he just was like,
They
a
all
little
liked
at the end,
every-
he was like, this is kind of crazy.
Everybody liked him.
Participation.
Wait, what happened? Go back.
I think that
Hear his voice?
Yeah.
I'm against people participating in women's sports who are biologically male. I think women have worked too hard to develop to develop women's sports over the past 30 years. I watched it
His voice is
happen,
bad.
and I don't think that's fair.
1 minute.
Oh,
That was it.
That
Okay.
was the only clip they let
Wait.
us show.
So wait.
Or
So
that they showed.
look, that voice could hurt him badly.
It's bad.
Yeah,
The voice
that's-
is bad.
And what's the reason for the voice?
Why is
Oh, it's
RFK
terrible. He could have had throat cancer.
Jr.'s voice?
You know that.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. Here, this is.
Oh,
Oh no, a rare disorder.
Wow.
This is back from 2009 from ABC News. No, I want something more recent. Let's see. Here, voice disorder. As a third son of RFK, here's what we know about his voice. According to ABC News, RFK Jr. suffers from spasmodic dysphonia, a specific form of an involuntary movement disorder called dystonia that affects the voice box. It's not a life-threatening illness, but it affects one's quality of life. Other people who have it say losing your voice hits people in their primary.
Sad. You gotta be
He
lucky.
said about it,
thankful.
The
for you.
disease didn't hit me until I was about 43. I used to have a strong voice.
Oh, scary.
Well, it doesn't hurt. It makes his life more complicated. In the beginning, his symptoms were slight and came in the form of a mild tremble for a couple of years. Here he is on Bill Maher. Seems like it's from a while ago, though.
Of the environment who appears in the documentary Trace Amounts, available now online, and is the editor of Thimerosal, Let the Science Speak, a book on the same issue. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is back with us.
This is 2 minutes. Let's watch it. 2
Robert,
minutes.
it's been so long. How are you? You look great. Well, okay, so I saw you have a full-page ad that you printed in USA Today about this issue, Thimerosal, which is
talking about
the
vaccines.
preservative, the mercury-based preservative in vaccines. We'll get to that in a second, but I want to put it in context. You are one of the greatest environmental crusaders we've ever had, so I'm
Very
assuming-
democratic to do, right? He's been an environmental lawyer his entire life.
Dispute that. So, your history with mercury goes back a long way. I mean, you're into the vaccine thing now, but you've gotten it out of rivers, right?
I got dragged into the vaccine issue kind of kicking and screaming because I was going around the country suing coal-burning power plants and talking about the dangers of mercury coming from those plants. And almost everywhere I stopped or I spoke, there were women there, very eloquent, articulate, grounded people who were saying, look, you have to look at the biggest vector of mercury in American children now is coming from vaccines, and we need you to look at the science.
Look what Shane.
I resisted
with Donna.
for a long time, but I started
No, we don't know that
reading
that's
the
from that.
science after a while. And I'm very comfortable reading science. I've brought hundreds and hundreds of successful lawsuits. Almost all of them have involved scientific controversy. So I'm good. I'm comfortable reading science and dissecting it and discerning the difference between junk science and real science. And when I started looking at it, what I saw was very alarming, which we were giving
This is
huge amounts
pre-COVID.
of mercury to our children. A lot of it has been taken out of vaccines, but there's still an extraordinary amount still in the vaccines, and particularly the flu vaccine.
But what?
Wow.
That's pre-COVID too. He's been on this train for a
That's
long
very
time.
scary, though, isn't it?
It is.
And there are a lot of people, the mothers that these kids that get the severe autism or whatever it is from these vaccines, there are a lot of people that are very anti-vax because they're worried about that.
That has been a growing thing for sure. And again, look,
Scary, isn't it?
I've had every vaccine. Actually, don't take the flu vaccine. I haven't taken it in like 5 years, but I had all my vaccines when I was a kid, and I'm fine. So it's not like
But it's a small percent, but it still exists.
it seems like it does. Yeah,
No,
it does.
it
seems
does, and it's scary.
I mean, you can't we don't know, right?
But
like
he's
people that-
scientific. He's saying the mercury in it. He says
and
that
he
it's
says it's from
damaging.
scientific evidence, right? Which I haven't read what he's talking about. But he's
and then
saying it.
what about even when you eat too much fish, you get mercury
Yeah,
poisoning?
mercury is
is
poisonous
it's
to
a
humans.
big concern.
Yeah.
So I would tend to believe that these big companies don't give a fuck what they're doing as long as they're making their billions of dollars for the shareholders. But it's scary.
Yeah.
It's getting these vaccines are scary.
And then so he RFK, so he wrote, I guess, that book back in the day on vaccines, and then he wrote in COVID. He wrote this book called The Real Anthony Fauci. Here, what's the title of it? It's The Real Anthony Fauci, Bill Gates, Big Pharma, and the Global War on Democracy and Public Health. So RFK Jr. wrote this during, and he published it himself because no one would publish it, right? So and that stuff we've been talking about dangers of Big Pharma, Bill Gates
For years.
Fauci, all of this. So I want to see if there's an article on it, what the book is about. Maybe here, Digital Journal.
His voice is going to hurt him, though.
I know, right? It's
sad.
It's a problem. This
It
is
doesn't take away from his intellect, but you think it does.
to me. It sounds like he's on the verge of tears, and so it's hard to listen to
He's
because
having a hard time trying to get out what he wants to say,
Yeah.
and it's a shame.
because the president mainly is a spokesman. That's their main job is to speak.
Well, you can't be worse than Biden.
That's true.
He's incompetent.
Right, and they don't even let Biden speak much anyways.
Right.
And we should watch. I haven't watched, but we watched any of it. But apparently, so he announced that he was running for president last week, and he did a speech. The whole speech is an hour long. So we're obviously, but apparently it was a really, really good speech. Everyone was like, "That's a president." Apparently, it was that kind of
Interesting
speech.
And you do know after you listen to someone 10 minutes, you get used to their voice.
Yeah,
You
totally,
do.
totally. I'm going to buy this book and read it just so I can, and then I'll tell you guys about it. And it sounds interesting to me. But let's see. This is from Dr. Drew, who I actually like Dr. Drew as a, here, this is
Didn't
Dr.
Oprah make them?
Oh, this is a whole
And
hour-long
keep-
interview, so we don't need to watch that. But this says it. Did Oprah make Dr. Drew?
Yeah. I think so.
This is back in 2022. In a documentary, RFK Jr., renowned environmental lawyer and controversial icon of the anti-vax movement, alleges collusion between Dr. Fauci, CDC, and big tech. So these are all things that we've been talking about forever.
100%.
He's running as an independent Democrat, though, opposing Biden, has only been around for a week. The media has been censoring him for years, has only been around for a week, and already has 20% of the vote. Like, these are all good signs. I like it. Even if,
I'm
let's
with
say he
you.
doesn't become president, it's a big, big threat to the Democrats and to Biden, right? It assures that
Yeah, but if Biden becomes president for another 4 years, don't you see how fucked we are between interest rates and inflation? We're fucked. Ronnie, you understand? It's a major fucking problem.
yeah,
Major. Major.
but that's what I'm showing. I don't think he's
5 and
gonna
a
be like
half
that.
more years of fucking Biden. It's a fucking problem.
I don't think it's going to happen though. We're already seeing the writing on the wall.
I would be
unless they just start,
anyone other than Biden.
and they're literally not going to let Biden debate RFK. So it says here,
What's going to happen with the presidential debate, though?
they're just not going to do it.
Guaranteed not doing it.
But if Biden doesn't become the nominee, if it's RFK DeSantis, those might be real debates back like they had in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, those
That
would
might
be
be a
good.
real debate about issues, not about
Oh,
Sleepy
you're ugly.
Joe and
you're
crooked-
ugly.
right,
yeah,
exactly.
you stupid fuck.
Yeah.
Nice hairdo.
It's not going to
Like
be putting
children.
down. It's going to be like,
Dumb.
let's talk about
Dumb.
the issues facing
Dumb.
America.
Yeah, I agree.
I would love to see RFK DeSantis. That they feel like they have classed the two of them. You know,
I agree.
It says here, RFK Jr. is the founder and chairman and chief legal counsel for Children's Health Defense. He is the founder of Waterkeeper Alliance, the world's largest clean water advocacy group, and served as its chairman and attorney. Kennedy's reputation as a resolute defender of the economy, of the environment, and children's health stems from a litany of hundreds of successful legal actions. Most recently, Kennedy received recognition for his role on the trial team of the landmark victories against Monsanto. Remember, I talked about them, about glyphosate. They're poisoning that's the Roundup. They're poisoning all the things, and they sue people for having. Remember, we talked about them. They trademarked seeds, DNA in their seeds,
yes.
and then they like throw their seeds everywhere. So then, a random independent farmer, Monsanto will send people to farms, and they'll find, if you have our seed, we're suing you for millions of dollars, and they put these farms out of business.
And also DuPont.
Yeah, so he's been against Monsanto, love that, and against DuPont in 2019 in the contamination case that inspired the movie Dark Waters. He studied at the London School of Economics, blah, 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 keeps going.
So he's actually a do-gooder, is what
It seems
like.
And it's not like he's just been a do-gooder starting the last couple of years. It's been his entire life
Correct.
doing it, and now he wants to run for president.
Okay.
I'm going to read this book, guys, so I'll give you the details on it.
Good for him.
Let's just see if we can do RFK speech highlights. Might have to go to Twitter for this. But let's see. Here's another thing, too. He's constantly been, his entire life, has been very critical of the CIA, FBI, the deep state, quote unquote, like Trump is. He's been on that before Trump ever was, because he thinks that they killed JFK and his dad. He's been a big, big thing on the CIA.
Which one's his dad again?
RFK. The
How'd
one
he die?
he was assassinated too, right when he won the Democratic presidential candidacy. He was assassinated. RFK announcement speech highlights. Let's see if we can find anything. This is from Time 3 days ago. DeSantis and RFK Jr. could embolden anti-vaccine movement. I'm going to have to go to Twitter, I think. Let's see.
You're so funny, Bronny.
It's just, but you can see like that they don't show. They don't want to show
this
a
is
speech.
the Bronson.
RFK
This is them
Jr.
silencing the free speech.
Which I think will only help him. I mean, already the fact that they're silencing when he's at 20% is crazy.
So much effort goes into this shit. Such corruption. It's fucking unbelievable, the amount of corruption.
That's so funny that Cheryl Hines is his.
Yeah.
What does this say? This says, this is RFK Jr. censored by Pfizer. This is him on ABC.
Class in this country that can sustain democracy.
We should note that during our conversation, Kennedy made false claims about the COVID-19 vaccines. Data shows that the COVID-19 vaccines prevented millions of hospitalizations and deaths from the disease. He also made misleading claims about the relationship
They're trying to
between
shut him down.
vaccination and autism.
Yep.
Research shows that vaccines and the ingredients used for the vaccines do not cause autism, including multiple studies involving more than 1 million children and major medical associations.
Could you
So they're just
imagine?
reading through all the
Pediatrics and the advocacy group Autism Speaks. We've used our editorial judgment and not including extended portions of that exchange in our.
So this
Oh
was his
my
first
God.
interview since he announced that he was running for president,
ABC
and that was with
News.
ABC.
We thank Mr. Kennedy for the conversation.
And they cut out part of his
Good
interview.
Morning America. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Here's
And
a part
gave
of
an
his
editorial
speech.
afterwards where he was wrong.
Yeah. So
I've never seen that before. Have you?
I've
never
haven't
seen that before.
especially of a presidential candidate.
Right, I've never
Just
seen that
cutting
before.
out a presidential
Unbelievable.
candidate. So this is from Noor Bin Laden, who is actually Bin Laden's daughter, who has been running, and she's been an anti-Democrat. Like, she's been very...
Bin Laden's daughter.
Yeah, so she's been a public voice now against Biden, against wokeism, against
Interesting.
all that. She was like
wow,
pro-Trump.
Bin Laden.
Yeah.
So
it's
it's
here,
amazing that she
says-
actually, wow.
So her Twitter profile is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, Swiss national, patriot at heart, in quotes, conspiracy theorist. So she's been...
What do you think about her father? 'Cause he's
I think
evil.
she's against him. She's been
Evil.
against her father. Yeah. So she tweeted part of his
Wow,
speech.
that's interesting. I would like to. That's
we can
someone
look
I
into
would
Bin
find
Laden about it.
intriguing about.
We can look into her. So she
Because her
tweeted-
father was fucking against America, the most evil, like terrible.
Yes.
Wow.
So she said RFK Jr. told many truths about the state of the United States and beyond in his speech yesterday, including the consequences of the Iraq war, especially for Iraqis, which isn't spoken enough about. But Bush didn't make a mistake. He was very aware of his actions. So let's see what this is
2
part of his
months
speech.
later, he was fighting his intelligence apparatus, his military, because they wanted to invade. They wanted to do the Bay of Pigs. He was totally against it, and he let them roll over him.
He's talking about
And-
I would assume if he's talking about Bay of Pigs and being rolled over, he's talking about JFK, because JFK. One of the reasons they think why they think he was assassinated, or why people who think the government assassinated him, is because he didn't want to ramp up arms in the Cold War against the Soviet Union. Right, the Bay of Pigs which happened. The Bay of Pigs was an incident where American troops went into Cuba and tried to assassinate Fidel Castro. And JFK and a lot of the American people were like, we can't do this. One, they're their own country. We can't just invade another country to assassinate a president. And two, this will escalate, the war tremendously. They're a nuclear power. We can't escalate, right? Because they were the Cuban Missile Crisis. They had missiles in Cuba. Russia had missiles. So JFK didn't want to do that. And the CIA was like, fuck you, we're doing it anyways.
Did they do it?
Yeah, the Bay of Pigs.
Gotcha.
It didn't work, right? Fidel Castro. I don't actually know much of the
Hey,
details.
why
but that's what he's talking about.
RuPaul in the background?
But
Okay.
that's what he's talking about, I'm assuming.
In the middle of the Bay of Pigs, he realized they were lying to him, and he realized the function of the intelligence agencies had become to provide
You
the
get used to his
military-industrial
voice.
complex with a constant pipeline of war.
So that's what I've always
And
talked
he
about,
came out
military-industrial.
during the middle of the night during the Bay of Pigs catastrophe, and he said, I want to take the CIA. Alan Dulles had lied to him, Charles Cabell, Richard Bissell, Louis Lemitzer, Curtis LeMay had all lied to him through their teeth. And he said, I want to take the CIA and shatter it into 1,000 pieces.
That's what Trump
scatter it to
says.
the winds."
Yeah.
And JFK was saying that in the 60s, and RFK is still saying it.
Good for him not being afraid and standing up.
Yeah, standing up to
Gotta
the
respect
CIA.
that. Yeah, fuck that. This is good. All right, so listen, I like this one minute.
You know, George W. Bush had the same problem. George W. Bush says the worst mistake
Republican.
he made as president was listening to CIA Director George Tenet tell him it was a slam dunk that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction.
Which they didn't.
And so
We know
the
that now.
neocons and CIA got to go into Iraq and throw out and do regime change. And
And we were in that war for 25
we
years.
got now we've spent $8 trillion.
Yep.
And what do we get for that $8 trillion? Nothing.
Yep.
Worse than
Just
nothing.
deaths.
Iraq is now much worse off than it was when we went in there.
Amen.
We killed more Iraqis than Saddam Hussein ever did. We may have killed 1 million Iraqis, and nobody knows the number.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
I love what this guy's
First
saying.
of all, he's just speaking. Just speaking. This sounds
he's
like
running as
no
a Democrat.
agenda.
That's
Wait,
what I
sounds
love
like no
about it.
agenda.
Yeah.
He's not just speaking.
Just calling out the truth everywhere.
Calling it out.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. That's why I'm like,
Kudos.
And the fact that
We're not going down, by the way, people, just so you know, but
the
kudos.
fact that he's a Kennedy too, that holds value. It's like he has a track
People
record
like the
behind
Kennedys.
him.
People do like the Kennedys.
It's like he is a good candidate. This says,
Interesting.
what
I don't know why RuPaul's there, but that's okay.
This is just wrapped up ground coverage. This is Sabby Sabs. I don't know. Just wrapped up coverage of RFK's presidential
I'm still a
announcement.
Republic-
He
the
made some
Republican
good
guys.
points, but the speech was too long. I'll discuss tonight. But I don't know. Let's see.
It's 49
Sorry.
seconds. That's not.
I
that's
can't
a
hear.
bad video.
I can't hear anything.
Someone from the.
This is ABC News editorial judgment Trump's free speech at presidential. ABC censored interview with RFK stating his remarks
This is
about
the one.
vaccines.
This is where when they cut
Let's
him
see
off.
If we can if there's anything.
Relation between vaccines leading to autism that's totally been debunked.
Wait a minute, who debunked it?
We have not seen any kind of scientific connection from the CDC, the World Health Organization. the
Can't trust
National
them. Can't
Academy
trust
of
them.
Sciences.
Are captive agencies.
And so you think they're all in cahoots?
Yeah, they're all captive.
You've discussed the Kennedy family.
Captive. They
as
cut
him off,
any
though. They added
family,
that. See
but
that?
There are disagreements. But I think what makes
They
it
wouldn't let them to
different
continue
here
that.
is that several of your relatives have not just said that they disagree with you, but they've called you dangerous. And as you're probably well aware, there were
They didn't call that's an article.
That was, no, but that article I think must have been from his
By
Kathleen
Kathleen
Kennedy.
Kennedy.
But that was back in 2020. That was back in 2019. That's 4 years ago. 4 years.
Politico article back in 2019. He's helped to spread dangerous misinformation over social media and is complicit in sowing distrust of science behind vaccines. We stand behind him in his ongoing fight to protect our environment. However, on vaccines, he's wrong. Your sister Carrie has said, I love my brother Bobby, but I do not share or endorse his opinions on many issues, including the COVID pandemic,
Okay.
vaccinations, and the role
Just
of
their
social
opinion.
media platforms
He's the
in
scientist, the one with
policing false
knowledge.
information.
So she doesn't agree with the role of social media platforms and policing false information. We know that
But
that's
wait,
a thing.
but wait,
That's
but
not even a
only that,
conspiracy theory.
But she just given her opinions that I don't agree, which she's allowed to.
Of course.
But he's the one that tries cases and knows the science and knows that, and it's been his mission for his
has
whole
been
life.
successfully doing it
Prevailing.
legally. Like he's literally been winning in court
Correct.
for years.
Right.
I admire his past work on it as an environmentalist.
Okay,
Because
who
of
cares
him,
about that?
Wait,
we
look
can
at this,
swim in
though.
the Hudson, but due to a wide range of Bobby's positions, I'm supporting President Biden. And I'm just curious, if you are not able to get your own sisters to vote for you for president, how would you make that appeal to American voters?
What is your family like? Do they agree with everything that you say and do?
Right.
They'd probably vote for me if I ran for president.
Yeah, well, I have siblings who will vote for me as well, but I have a big family, and many of them will not.
You do get used to the voice.
Yeah.
I have two siblings who came to my announcement and a lot of other relatives as well. But I mean, there's disagreements, but I love my
Just being
family.
honest.
And, my family in particular, we grew up arguing with each other. And we are very, very, I say, comfortable disagreeing with each other, both publicly and
Right.
privately on issues, and at the same time loving each other. And that's
Nothing wrong with
I
it.
actually like that he said, yeah, they disagree with me. I still
But
love them. They're
it's
still,
honest.
and
No,
one of the brothers said, I don't agree with him, but we still will swim in the Hudson together.
Right.
That's
but-
normal
but wait,
family
but
dynamics.
But he's just answering normally. I like that.
right, exactly.
Go ahead.
And he's not
Let's hope
saying-
he doesn't get tainted.
I
Because
don't
that could
think
happen in a year and a half from now.
that he's been fighting
Okay, I get it, but he's not in this public arena. It's very different.
yeah,
So you never know.
but true, definitely.
Money changes people.
But also, if he's been against, the biggest companies, Monsanto, DuPont, Bill Gates, for decades.
As a lawyer,
Yeah.
big difference now. This is a different position. But
Yeah.
so far, I like it. Keep
but at
going.
least he has a track record of not being corrupt.
And I like the way he's speaking.
Yeah.
we ought to learn for this country. We can disagree with each other without hating each other, without vilifying each other, without marginalizing
That's a
each
good
other.
message.
I'm just making a distinction on just using your family's
little
words,
honest.
Well, yeah,
calling you
but you were-
dangerous.
yeah, but
No,
let's-
I was just using your family's words to call you dangerous rather than saying that's not like the typical
Unbelievable.
family that might have disagreements around the kitchen room
And
table.
how do you expect me to respond to that other than saying they were wrong about the issue that they consider me dangerous?
Oh, that's a fair response. And my other point is just that if you don't regard the same
cut 'em
scientific
off.
authorities,
Science is rarely static. There are very few scientific principles that are immovable. Science is dynamic. And, look, I've argued over I've litigated over 500 lawsuits.
Wow.
In every one of those lawsuits, there are experts, authorities on one side, and experts and authorities
Right.
on the other that are saying the exact opposite
Opposite.
thing.
Correct. And you pay them and they do it.
No, I don't trust authority. I need to see the details. I need to see the science.
Your final pitch to voters.
My
They cut
pitch
'em
would
off.
be that we need to look at what's happened to our country. We need to try to arrest this emergence of corporatism, of the corrupt merger of state and corporate power that's
Yep,
undermining
that's a huge
our values,
thing.
that's strip mining our landscape,
Undermining our values, you said.
that is stealing the assets of the middle class of this country, that is compromising the values of this country, that's keeping us in a constant state of war, and that is creating a nation that doesn't resemble the nation that we all love, which is a nation with a handful of billionaires and widespread poverty, in which democracy does not have a prayer of continuing. And let's try to take a new path that will allow us to give our children a country that is, once again, a moral authority around the globe, an exemplary nation, and that has a booming middle class in this country that can sustain democracy.
I'm all in favor of that.
Totally.
I want to say one thing.
We should know.
I
And
want to
then
say
they give
something.
the little
Conversation,
copy.
Kennedy
Yeah,
made
fuck
false
that. Turn
claims
that
about
off.
the COVID-19
I want to explain.
vaccines
Turn that
data
off.
shows
I want to say
It's
something from
crazy.
Republicans and Dems will not vote for him.
Republicans and Dems will not vote for him.
Meaning the ones that are like they're afraid
Like on
because the politicians, professional politicians,
Yeah.
because he also will upset the apple cart.
Totally.
They're as corrupt.
He is Trumpy where he's out of the system and he's saying the system is
Correct.
bad.
He's Trumpy on the Democratic side without the stupid fucking mouth.
Right. And what I mean by Trumpy is like he's an outsider. He's speaking bad about the system and the government, saying we need to change everything.
And likes our
he's saying-
country.
he was saying
And
make
wants to
America
save our
great
children.
again.
He
He was
wants to make
saying
our
that
chil-
in his own way.
I'm-
He was saying we need to go
I'm
back to
fine
what
with
America
it.
used to
I'm
be.
fine with it. I'm
So I
fine
think
with
he's a good candidate. What he seems
And you know how you help the middle class. You create jobs, lower inflation, lower interest rates. That helps the middle class.
Yeah.
All that helps the middle
and
class.
the fact that he was saying all
lower
that,
expenses, lower gas, that helps all the middle class. It really does.
Yeah. He's saying all that stuff, and he's also anti-woke. He's saying transgender men should not, or women should not be in men's sports, or
Yeah,
women's sports,
I agree.
whatever.
And
So
against the government and against
Yep.
He
against the deep state,
wants
he's
separation of
pro-environment.
corporation and government.
Yeah.
And I'm 100%
We all should be. That's what's
100%.
ruining this country. I've been talking about that
Wow,
for years.
All right, Ronnie.
Yeah, so I think he's
Interesting.
good.
Love
We'll
you.
see what's going to come from it. But yeah, it's interesting. We learned a lot about him this
You know,
episode.
they might kill him too.
They might kill him, honestly. They full on might kill him. Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. But they did it to his
Listen,
dad and his uncle.
I am anyone against Biden, I will support. Anyone.
Yeah.
I'm happy to get someone that's a businessman.
Yeah. How great would it be to see
Okay, he's a lawyer and believes in science. That means his brain works a very certain way.
Yeah.
I like that. And he's gone up against huge, like that TV series Goliath. He's gone up against major, right?
the biggest companies in the world.
This guy's so he's not intimidated,
Right.
which is a huge thing.
Yep.
Because that's a scary thing. That you're going up against the mafia. When you're going up against these big companies that are that powerful, these $100 billion
yeah.
it's like fighting the mafia. You
And
gotta
that
look over
the
your shoulder.
CIA too,
Right.
which is literally a
So
mafia.
good for him. And
not only,
and he has two
he's
relatives
not
that-
afraid too.
He's not afraid. That's what I was trying
because
to get at.
he also he's not worried about being canceled. People have been saying conspiracy theorists, anti-vaccine, and he's never apologized.
He's not
stuck to his
afraid.
guns.
I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, so we'll see.
All right,
what
I'm
comes
still
from it.
going. I still would go DeSantis all day long.
Fair, yeah.
But
But I would love to see
But if it-
imagine DeSantis and RFK as the candidates. We could finally be like, you know what? We have
either
good
one I
candidates in
feel
this
okay,
country.
I would be all right with.
And it finally would be like someone I would want to vote for. I haven't felt like there's someone I want to vote for in decades. So it would be like, okay, we have two respectable people. That's what this country's about.
Correct. We still would vote for DeSantis, but I agree with
Well,
you.
not we. I don't know. Who
Yes,
knows?
you are. You're dead. Really?
I don't know.
You're out of the will.
Okay.
All right. Love you, Bronny.
Love you,
Guys,
Ted.
everyone have a great day. Bye-bye.
You're joking, right?
Well, I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm trying to be optimistic about that.
Well, I guess you're too young to be a little pessimistic like me.
The fucking things I see out there, people are stupid.